Today, we are on to our last and final episode of ADP review with one of the most interesting rounds, round 13, with names like Dylan Cruz, Jasson Dominguez, Sandy Alcantara, and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominick Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB, and I am riding solo today, as you can see if you are watching on YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It will subscribe you to the channel and give you a notification every time we drop a new episode. Or if you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly, truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And lastly, but most importantly, to us and you guys this time of year, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Do Subtext. It's an in-depth, personalized experience. Do text messages and alerts right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in these 30-minute episodes. And if you are interested in joining us on Subtext, the link is in our bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. And guys, the NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So visit FanDuel.com to get started today. And all right, folks, I mentioned it up top. This is going to be our last and final episode of early ADP review. We're up to round 13. This has been a great series, a lot of fun to do. Got to deep dive on a lot of names. So please go back through this episode and go back through these series and watch each and every episode to get an idea of where we can take advantage of early ADP. And so when guys move around, you know if you're getting value on them or not. So let's just jump right into it. I know Matt finished up round 12 with Zach Neto at pick 150-ish. So we move on to Eugenio Suarez, starting off round 13 for us here. The Diamondbacks did pick up his option, so he does go back to the Diamondbacks. And I actually think this is great value for Suarez. Found a home in Arizona last year and really settled in nicely. On the season, Suarez hit 256 with 30 home runs, 101 RBIs, 90 runs. That was over 158 games and 571 at-bats. We know who Suarez is at this point in his career. 3 out of the last 4 seasons, he's hit at least 30 homers. He's hit above 230 3 out of those 4 seasons. Good RBI numbers. That Diamondbacks team is going to be competitive again this year. The power is just, like I said, super legit. You know who you're getting with Suarez. There's not much of a variance here in his game. Not so much of a points league guy. He strikes out a lot. But I really think the consistency of the 30 home runs, the counting stats, he's a clutch hitter. He really did pick it up down the stretch last year. We're getting Suarez as the 17th third baseman off the board. And, as I pull up my rankings here just to double check, I believe I have Suarez as the 12th or 13th second baseman going into 2025. So that is a lot of value. That's like about 5 or 6 spots of value at the position, at least according to, my early rankings. And then I just want to throw out there, as I always do, I have Suarez at 13 at third base. So I do like it here. You're getting a guy with guaranteed pop in a good lineup, and that he's not going to kill you in batting average. Suarez has been around a while. Eugenio Suarez, that is, once again, who we're talking about here. 1,400 career games played, 5,200 at-bats, career 248 hitters. Like I said, 250 batting average isn't going to kill you at the position. And for getting a guy, post, just about 150. I actually really like this pick here with Eugenio Suarez. And as I mentioned, this round here is just a lot of very interesting names. And I think, if you could jump a lot of these names up a round or two, and I'm not even going to be mad at you. Maybe not this next guy, though. But let's talk about it. Let's get into JT Realmuto. The fall from grace is real. the past 2 or 3 years, Realmuto has gone from the bona fide number one catcher in fantasy baseball to, hey, man, he's really starting to fall down the rounds here. Last year is, a big part of the reason why we're getting him so late. At age 33 last year, JT Realmuto with those Phillies played 99 games, had 380 at-bats, 50 runs, 18 doubles, 14 homers, 47 RBIs, 2 steals, and he had 266. Like I said, the power isn't playing anymore. The speed has gone down tremendously to 2 steals last year. So he's not really, contributing at that position like he used to. He used to be a double-digit steals guy at the catcher position. Used to be really great to see. The sprint speed is still there at the 80th percentile sprint speed, but with Realmuto being as banged up as he was last year, really prevented him from running. But you know what? The batting average isn't something I'm betting on bouncing back. The last 2 seasons, it's taken a step, in the wrong direction. I mean, the value's there at, getting JT Realmuto at pick 151 about. It's not horrible. But in this round, we're really going to get into, all the names that we can take here. And I still don't know if I'm doing catcher just yet at this point. He is the 10th catcher off the board. And I mean, I'll say it like this. You get Tyler Stevenson, Cincinnati, who had a decent year last year, 15 picks later. Francisco Alvarez with some power upside with the Mets, almost 17 picks later. Austin Wells is going 50-plus picks later. I mean, you could jump in here and take Realmuto. I'll say it like this. I'm either going to be a Yainer Diaz, Cal Raleigh, Salvador Perez kind of guy this season. And if I don't get one of those guys, I'm pretty much waiting on that next group of 3. I don't think JT Realmuto is going to be in the group of guys that I'm really looking forward to drafting when it comes to catcher. Just because at age 34 with Realmuto, I don't see the upside. I just don't see where are we gaining anything here. Is he going to jump back and be a 275 batting average guy with the 20 home runs and the 12 to 15 steals? I personally don't foresee it. He's not going to be in an advantageous spot in that Phillies lineup, I don't think. So Realmuto, I mean, I'm not very mad at the price. I'm not optimistic at the profile of Realmuto at an age 34 season when he's been declining the last 2 years consistently. Let's move on to another Philly, though. Let's sneak in one more Philly here. Let's do the Bryson Stott talk. I was big on Bryson Stott going into last season. He was one of my breakouts. He was just a kid that I really liked. Everything that I had saw, in 2023 from Stott. Truly disappointed me. Took a step back in the wrong direction. 148 games for Stott with those Phillies last year at age 26. 506 at-bats. He only had 65 runs, 19 doubles, 11 homers, 57 RBIs, 32 steals, and he had 245. It was pretty much a worst case scenario for Stott, in my opinion. Like I said, somebody who had, upside of, being one of the top contributors at second base just really didn't come through. The underlying stuff, still super fast. I thought there was a lot more potential with the speed here. He did steal one more base than he did in 2023, but I thought there was a level to Bryson Stott with the speed. I thought maybe 50 steals was in play. I guess not. The underlying stuff with batting average, about spot on, about a 250 hitter. It looks like Stott, is primed to be. I thought, after the 2023 season, like I said, he was going to be able to stay, maybe in that 270, 280 range. Didn't happen. I never thought Stott was going to be a power guy, but I thought he'd find a spot in this Phillies lineup and just take off. And, the runs would be the thing that would take the step forward. I thought Stott was going to be like a 90 run, 15 homer, 75 RBI, 50 steal, 275 hitter. Didn't happen. I'm not banking on it this year. Maybe there still is a chance that Stott takes a step forward. It was only going to be 27 this season. And I'm not really super mad at the ADP pick, like 152-ish here for Stott coming off the board as the 12th second baseman. And I'll be honest with you, there are a couple of guys underneath Stott that I do have ranked higher than that I do like more. I have Stott as my 20th second baseman. So yeah, I've taken like the step in the other direction on Stott this year. I'm actually going to be fading him. And I like to draft other, guys in this round because we're actually getting to a bunch of the names that I really do like in this round. And Dylan Cruz is one of them, Sandy Alcantara and Jasson Dominguez. Those names and more coming up next. So stay locked on. And real quick, folks, I need to talk to you about my friends over at FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown and how many points each team will score. It's always thrilling. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Once again, that's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And folks, it is once again time to talk to you guys about the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Diamond Club on the Subtext platform. It's going to be your ultimate fantasy baseball companion as this offseason continues to unfold. You're going to rely on Matt and I for our dynamic content. You're going to get real-time alerts right to your phone, including our 2025 ranking, sleepers, breakouts, bust, and so much more than we can do in this 30-minute podcast. So you're going to want to make sure you stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on the Subtext platform where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. And if you guys are interested in joining us on the Subtext platform, you can find the link in our bio wherever you're listening, watching, and it's available on any of our social media platforms. All right, guys, this is where this round gets fun. Let's just get right into it. Let's talk about Dylan Cruz. I think this is a really, really fun pick here. Post 150, you can get in on, a lot of hype for pretty cheap. Now, when Dylan Cruz did get the call last year for those Washington Nationals, he didn't excel the way that we would have hoped he would have. It was 31 games in the bigs for Cruz last year, 119 at-bats, 12 runs, 5 doubles, a triple, 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 12 steals. He walked 11 times and struck out 26 with a .218 batting average. So he wasn't putrid. I love that he was able to take a couple of walks. I love that, got a couple of doubles in there, showed off the speed with the 12 bags in 31 games. You like that pace. But Dylan Cruz is, always been just a kid that has excelled in the minors. Young, 22 years old, going to be 23 this upcoming season. I like the speed profile for Cruz. He's very quick. The power is, I'm hoping, something he can start to tap into over, the next few years as he comes along, because, he does have some power in that bat. He was arguably, top prospect in all of the game. And it's just something that, you're getting value on a guy who could potentially be a top, he could be a strong OF2. Dylan Cruz could be a strong OF2, I think, at the higher end upside for this season. And we are getting him, like I said, just really good value here on a scratch-off type of pick. Outfielder 39, I like that. I have him a bit higher than that. I think I have him, as I pull up my rankings here, I have him somewhere in the 30s at least minimum. Where did I wind up throwing Dylan Cruz in there? At 33. So I have him about 6 spots higher than this. Not a crazy amount higher, but enough that I think that we can get some value here on Dylan Cruz this late. And like I said, Nationals are up and coming team. They're going to try a lot harder to be good this year. Him, James Wood, Luis Garcia. They just have a bunch of young kids in that lineup that are going to be hungry to impress, and I think they're going to be pesky. I think they're going to be like Oakland was, the last year. I think that's how the Nationals are going to be this year. Just going to be putting up a lot of runs on, a game-to-game basis, and they're going to be just tough to put down. And I think Cruz can be a catalyst to that. If he finds a home at the top of the lineup, gets that batting average right, like I said, you got potential on a guy that could be a top 24 type outfielder, and you're getting him right around outfielder 40. Let's move on to a fun one. Let's talk about Sandy Alcantara, man. I don't know if he's going to be healthy for opening day. I think all arrows are leaning towards that he's going to be ready for opening day. And if he is, man, this is a good pick. This is just a guy that we know can go out there, throw a plethora of innings with a good ERA and, a solid whip too. I know 2023 wasn't kind to Alcantara. It was 28 starts in 2023 with a 4.14 ERA, 184 innings, 151 strikeouts, a 1.21 whip. I think he's better than that. He's coming off, a couple of big injuries there, and, he's going to be 29 this season with Sandy Alcantara. But once again, this is just the point of the draft where you want to throw these darts, and they're affordable darts to throw. You might not want your whole staff to be like a Sandy Alcantara or your whole bench to be, hitters like Dylan Cruz. But this is where I really love to start throwing darts. It's SP47 for Sandy Alcantara, so you're talking about like your SP5-ish. I think this it's a good dart to throw. There's the chance that he comes back and he looks similar to the way he did in 2023. But if he is a mix of between the 2023 and the 2022, where he was an all-star and and he won the Cy Young. Just wanted to confirm, and he did win the Cy Young in 2022. Then you're making some money here with a guy who can be very, very good. I think it's a risky pick. I haven't really worked Sandy into my rankings yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere around this range. So I'm not mad at this pick, especially when you start looking at some of the other starting pitchers that are going around this range. I think the upside of Alcantara just beats drafting of any of these other guys that are around this range, to be honest with you. I would do it, especially if you haven't taken any risks in your rotation up until this point. Let's sneak in my boy. Let's sneak in the Martian. Let's sneak in some Jasson Dominguez talk. And it just looks every passing day like the Yankees just going to have to give this kid the shot. Pick 152-ish here for Jasson Dominguez, and I love it. I have him ranked higher than Dylan Cruz. I just think the ceiling is just so much higher on a team where the Yankees are going to need somebody like Jasson Dominguez to be good for them. I think the power ceiling is very, very high. This kid who hits the ball really, really hard, really, really far. Jasson Dominguez, honestly, the ceiling is, I want to say, 30 home runs, bunch of RBIs. He's going to steal you some bags, too. He stole 5 bases in 18 games in the bigs last year. 30-30 threat, I think, from Jasson Dominguez. And then the batting average is really going to be where we're gonna struggle, I think, with Dominguez. I think Dominguez could be a 240-ish hitter, 250-ish hitter this season. And then, going forward in his career, he could definitely figure it out and be better than that. But I'm just expecting, I would say, around a 30-30 season if he plays 150-plus games, bunch of RBIs, the run should be good too. And you're getting Jasson Dominguez as outfielder number 40. I have him, I believe it was 32 or 31. I have him a couple spots ahead of Dylan Cruz. So I really like taking Jasson Dominguez here. I think he's going to be a really, really strong outfielder number 3 for us, and has the potential. Like I said, if Jasson Dominguez goes 30-30 for the Yankees and has 100 RBIs, 90 runs, and hits 260, 270, talking about a guy that's easily a high-end number 2 outfielder, if not a low-end number 1 outfielder. So I think Jasson Dominguez, I think I'm going to put my Dom stamp of approval on Jasson Dominguez as my favorite pick of this round. There's somebody else that we'll get to later that I really like too, but Jasson Dominguez is getting my stamp of approval for this round. And we're going to talk some Lane Thomas, Yusei Kikuchi, and Shane Baz, those names and more, guys, coming up next. Because real quick, I need to talk to you guys about my friends over at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With Game Time's Picks curation, it makes it easier to save more on sports, concert, comedy, and theater. Game Time has plenty of great features as well as their all-in pricing. When you toggle this feature, it shows you the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. With their seat views, you get a panoramic view from the actual seat you'll be sitting in the app before you buy it. With their lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. With Game Time's ticket coverage, your purchase is covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, folks, time for the home stretch here, and let's talk some Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas, another one of those fun, interesting names that kind of surprised us a bit last year. Went over to the Cleveland Guardians, around the All-Star break. And he was he wasn't as good with Cleveland as he was with the Nationals. He played 53 games for Cleveland after the trade, 172 at bats, 23 runs, 10 doubles, 7 homers, 23 RBIs, 4 steals, and hit 209 over that period. There was a lot of high hopes for Lane Thomas, especially after the 28 bombs and 20 steals that he put together in 2023. Took a step back in 2024. I'll be honest with you guys, I've never personally been a Lane Thomas guy. He's just somebody I'm fading. We talked about the young upside of the young guys with upside like Dylan Cruz and Jasson Dominguez at outfield in this round. If I'm looking for an outfielder, those two are above Lane Thomas for me personally. And then there's another guy that's outfield eligible that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, and I have him over Lane Thomas too. Lane Thomas just doesn't do it for me. I just don't see, he doesn't do any one thing particularly well. Kind of a guy that just does a bunch of different things okay. And if the stars don't align like they do in 2023, there's just not much upside here for Lane Thomas. So, the 2020 threat is always there, but, you never know what you're going to get with the batting average. You don't know where a guy like Lane Thomas is going to hit in this lineup. The speed's legit with the 32 steals, took a nice step forward in that department, but you sacrificed a lot of power to get to where he wound up. So, that was the only thing that he excelled in at all in 2024 was the 32 steals, because with the 237 batting average for Lane Thomas, didn't help you in runs or RBI, 60, a little over 60 of each of those. And like I mentioned, the 15 home runs wasn't, promising. And then in the walk to strikeout department, he did take a step forward with 44 walks to 137 strikeouts, but that's still not really, helping you get anywhere. So Lane Thomas, a fade for me, even at this round. Let's talk about Yusei Kikuchi. Yusei Kikuchi actually was pretty good down the stretch last year. Finished the season pretty strong, and actually changes teams once again. Because last year down the stretch with the Houston Astros, Kikuchi was pretty dominant through his last 10 starts. Had a 2.70 ERA, 60 innings pitched, 76 strikeouts, and an 0.93 whip. Really was a league winner if you were able to get him down the stretch. At this price, you can throw your dart that way if you want to. I don't think I'll have too many Yusei Kikuchi shares. It's pick 154 for Kikuchi, works out to about SP 48 for him. Just like I said, not really the sexiest of picks. I don't know how things are going to work out for him over with the Angels. Not a great team for wins, so I don't think he's going to win too many games. And then he won 5 of those last 10 starts, down the stretch for the Astros is what really helped him be super valuable. And then you just don't know how, new team. Down the stretch, it's easy, when you're playing for a contract to, all right, I'll go up there and I'll do my best. But now that he's got it, 34 years old, Kikuchi's probably another just guy that I'm fading at this point, even though the price isn't horrible. Just not for me, especially when there's another starting pitcher we're going to be talking about in a second here that I really do like. Let's switch the gears. Let's talk about a closer here, Ryan Walker. Guys, been saying it, just going to keep repeating the same thing about closers. This is where you want to jump in. I don't know if I'm super psyched as Ryan Walker as my closer number one. I'm actually going to pull up my closer rankings here. I don't know if I threw Ryan Walker in there yet. I don't think I did, but he won't sneak. He won't be able to sneak into my top 12 closers. Ryan Walker is going to be closer to about 15-ish for me, 15, 16. A really nice closer number two. If you wanted to jump back in, it's not guaranteed that he's going to have the role, especially with, Mr. Hold on one second. I just want to confirm something. Yeah, with Camilo Duvall still there. So I actually don't know if I like this pick at all, to be honest with you, because I know Ryan Walker was good down the stretch, and I know Duvall had a lot of trouble last year, so I just want some confirmation on what's happening there before I take the Ryan Walker, right? So I just don't know about this one. This one stays on hold until we get some more clarity about what's going on with the Ryan Walker Camilo Duvall situation. But let's talk about Colton Cowser. I was talking to you guys about outfielders, and I told you I don't like Lane Thomas. And there's another name that we are going to talk about, and it's this guy. It's Colton Cowser. 6'2", 220, lefty for those Baltimore Orioles, man. Had a pretty strong showing last year for, his first season in the Bigs, first full season in the Bigs. At 24 years old, Colton Cowser, Baltimore Orioles, 153 games last year, 499 at-bats, 77 runs, 24 doubles, 3 triples, 24 home runs, 69 RBIs, 9 steals, and he hit 242. Colton Cowser is probably going to be out there every day for those Baltimore Orioles, and I think there's a lot of upside in this bat. I think that he can tap into that power, which he has a lot of. He has a lot of speed for a big guy, 75th percentile sprint speed. Just somebody that has 30 home run upside with a potential of having I would say this. I could see Colton Cowser stepping into that Anthony Santander role for the Baltimore Orioles, because I don't think they're going to retain him. So I think Colton Cowser, 30 home run kind of guy, 100 RBIs, could tap into maybe 15 steals with, he stays around that 230, 240 batting average. It's a good guy to pick up here at this point in drafts. Coming off the board as pick 155, you're going to get a guy in a good lineup with a lot of power that I think is young and just gonna get better. I think he's somebody that's going to just be better than he was last year. Let's talk about this guy was almost my Dom stamp of approval pick of the round, Shane Baz. I really, really still think that Shane Baz has a lot of upside, man. I know everyone's getting a little bit fatigued with Baz, getting a little bit older, going to be 26 years old here in 2025. But he was good last season through his 14 starts. He had a 3.06 ERA, 79 innings, 69 strikeouts, a 105 whip. It's just the injuries that hold a guy like Shane Baz back. And I'll be honest with you, I do have a guy like Shane Baz ranked a bit higher than Kikuchi, than Alcantara, than a lot of guys that we've talked about of late through this. I just think there's a lot of upside here with Baz. Showed it off last year. Not so sure, other than injuries, why he's being taken so late. But if you're getting a guy like Shane Baz as your SP5, I think you're just laughing to the bank with that. And I think he's going to be very, very good as long as he can stay healthy. And Baz did get up to 80 innings last year. So, I mean, could he double it and get to 160 this year if he stays healthy? I wouldn't be shocked. But there's just got to be a year where Baz stays healthy and puts it all together for us, man. I really think it could be 2025. I will definitely have a lot of shares of Shane Baz if this is the price. Let's move on to the last guy of round 13 and the last guy of our ADP review series. It's Ronaldo Lopez, who will be starting for those Atlanta Braves like he did last year. I told you guys to pick him up and see where the thing goes, just because I always did like Ronaldo Lopez as potential as a starter. Back when he was with the White Sox, I had him a few years in fantasy, and he was at least decent. I look back at the 2018 season where he was pretty solid. I don't think Ronaldo Lopez is going to have the sub-2 ERA with the bells and whistles like he did this past season, but could he be a 3.5 ERA kind of guy with over a K per nine, a decent whip? I think he definitely could. He's going to be 31 years old this upcoming season. Ronaldo Lopez is another guy that I think the price at SP51 is fair, and I think we'll be making some money if we're taking Ronaldo Lopez here. But guys, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review, and shout out to our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And after you make us your first listen, go check out our boy Sully over at Locked On MLB and make him your second listen right after us each and every day. But guys, until next time, see ya.